Good morning, everybody. Ooh, sorry. Again, I wanted to thank the Police Association for sponsoring breakfast for us here today. Thank you so much. And this is my last Java with John and breakfast, so I just... No, I just wanted to thank everybody for all the support you've given me through the years. It's been wonderful getting to know each and every one of you. It really is a second family here. You know, I probably spend more time with you folks than I do my own. But it's been wonderful. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Moving on to good things, leaving you in good hands. So they did hire a replacement for me. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to announce it yet or not, but just know they've been working behind the scenes. They know how important it is to keep things running smoothly here. So John started this with me when he started. I used to do a monthly coffee, just myself passing along information for the senior center. And when John started, I invited him to come speak. And, you know, I'm so grateful that you've continued coming every month for, what, 8 years now? Yeah, for 8 years. So it's been really valuable, I think, for you to hear the information he has to share, but also the feedback that you have for him and the questions. So thank you, and we plan on continuing this. I've got him booked for September, so where it goes from there, but I think it will be something that we continue. I'm going to hand it over to John because we do have some special guests today.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Sharon Mercurio. I'm going to share a few more words about Sharon afterward, but just to be clear, she's not being replaced. She can't be replaced. What she's brought for this community, and particularly the senior center, can't be replicated. But we're going to have someone do her job. Anyways, I wanted to just mention thank you for being here. I know it's a beautiful summer day, and I appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. I'm John Mangiarotti. I'm the town manager. As mentioned, I've worked here for about 8 years. It's my honor to be the town manager. We have, like Sharon, we have outstanding professional staff throughout this organization. And a lot of the work that I do is just to help keep everyone moving in the right direction. They do all the hard work, and I just help them coax them along a little bit. So we're in a really good spot here as a community. We have outstanding public safety, first responders. I think they do what they're supposed to do, which is respond to calls, but they do so much more on a regular basis, whether it's engaging with seniors here or developing programs or various things that they do that many other communities don't have active police and fire departments like we have. So I'm very appreciative of them. We have Sergeant Campbell with us today, Officer Hammer, Officer Gonzalez from the police department, and we have Brian Smith from the fire department. And Brian's actually serves in the fire department. In addition to being a firefighter, he also serves as the SAFE coordinator. A SAFE coordinator is one of the many things that we're doing to try to improve safety besides responding to calls. So I'd like to ask Brian to come up and talk a little bit about what's going on with the SAFE program. So Brian?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Smith. I've been with the Acton Fire Department for 2 years now. Before that, I've been in the fire service for about 4 years before that. So total, I've been in the fire service for 6 years. I'm the SAFE coordinator for the fire department, so I handle. You guys hear me? Yeah. All right. So I'm the SAFE coordinator, so I run all the classroom visits for the students at the elementary schools, as well as I also run the senior SAFE program, which I create some programs for you guys. Most recently, I created the home safety survey program. So it's a voluntary program, non-punitive. It's for you guys. It's for your fire safety. So what we'll do if you sign up, we'll come to your house. We'll inspect for any fire hazards. If we find any, we'll jot them down. We'll make recommendations how to fix them. On top of that, we will also check all your smoke detectors, make sure they're in date, make sure they're operational. If there's any expired detectors, if we're able to, we will change them on site. If we can't, we'll make recommendations on where to go purchase new ones if you have hardwired detectors. As well, I just got a donation from the Friends of the COA. So we'll be purchasing more smoke detectors as well as batteries. So if your smoke detectors are in date, we will be able to change your batteries. So there's 2 ways to sign up. If you want to sign up, you can call the COA. They'll fill out the form for you. The other way is if you go on the Acton Fire Department website, you can go onto the public education page, and there'll be a home safety survey request form. You fill that out, and then within 10 days, either myself or one of the other SAFE committee members will contact you, we'll schedule a survey, and then we'll come out at that time and we'll conduct your survey. Once the survey is done, we'll send you guys a copy of the inspection form so you have a copy for your record as well as our recommendations we made. And that'll be it. We'll just make your home safer. It makes everyone else safer. So thank you very much for your time. Give it back to John.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. So, as mentioned, in addition to some updates from other departments, I usually talk a little bit about the town and give you some updates, and then the bulk of this program is really hearing from you, questions from you, comments from you, complaints from you, and I do my best to respond to them live, and it's a really fun part of my job. I enjoy doing this. It's something that I think is of value to the community because you get to hear directly from me. There's a lot of information out there, and a lot of it isn't accurate, and I do my best to try to provide accurate information, even if the answer isn't what you want to hear. I do my best to give you an answer. So I should also mention that ActonTV, Mark Ducci, here with us today, he records and broadcasts this live for us. So we're on live TV right now and streaming on YouTube. So thank you for doing that, ActonTV. I mentioned that this is Sharon's last Friday, or maybe she mentioned it. So I wanted to take a moment just to recognize Sharon, and I think when you work at a senior center, it's a job, and you have a staff that you oversee, a team that she does a great job of managing, and they're a very highly functioning team here, but it's also engaging with the community. She knows every one of you, and she knows about 500 other seniors, or maybe 1,000 other seniors just as well. And I think there are some directors that sort of work in the office and do paperwork, and Sharon does paperwork, but she's out here, she's engaging with you, she's supporting you, and she's helping you all feel comfortable in this center and in this community. And I think aging services, senior services, elder services, whatever we call it, is a very important part of what we do here in the local government, and having a strong leader like Sharon at the helm of it has been a huge asset for us for 16 years. 16 years, this is her 16th year. So we're really gonna miss Sharon and what she brings to this community, to this organization. And I'm excited for her next chapter. She has a lot going on in her family, exciting things happening, and she's going to be hanging out in North Carolina, which is a cool place to go. But we're certainly gonna miss her here. Next week is her last week. I'm going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be able to say a proper goodbye to her, so I'd like to do that right now. I would also like to welcome up our representative, Danilo Senna, from the State House. He's out there working for you, and I would like to have him come up and say a few words. Thanks for coming.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I was honored to be invited by the town to come and say a few words on behalf of the House of Representatives. And as an Acton resident, I see the work that you do, and I'm really honored and humbled to be here to wish you, I guess, a farewell, but continued success. And I brought a house citation. I actually had two. So Sharon, why don't you come up? Stand over here. All right, so the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, be hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers sincerest congratulations to Sharon Mercurio in recognition of your 15th year of dedicated service to the town of Acton and the Acton Senior Center and the Acton Council of Aging. The entire membership offers its very best wishes and express the hope of good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. And this citation is signed by Speaker Rona Mariano and myself. And Sharon, I really just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you've done for all my constituency and the Acton residents. I know you have done valuable work for seniors that are here. They come, they're in need, and you are a resource to them. So I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I brought another citation, but I guess Beverly Hutchins. Also, Beverly is recognized in almost 30 years, 29 years of dedicated service, and she's not here today, right? Okay, but if someone could kindly pass this on to her, I would thank you.
Yes. So, thank you, Representative, for being here. Beverly, as you all know, is retiring too, and so we wanted to make sure that she was recognized. Beverly Hutchins worked here for 30 years in many capacities and has done a lot for seniors, and she worked in nursing, and she's been a huge part of this organization for many years. So her work will certainly be missed, and we hope her the best in her retirement as well. I wanted to, so Sharon mentioned the Job with John program. That's where we're at today, and I think that's been an important connection for me to the community, and I want to thank her for that. I think I was doing some research on the Job with John program, and I found the very first episode that ActonTV recorded, and it was during the pandemic. It was February. It was the first week of the pandemic. I forget whatever that week was, where we went on live and did a story. We sat at a table, and there was a bottle of hand sanitizer strategically placed between us, just to prove to the community that we were being safe. And we weren't wearing masks because that wasn't a thing yet. It was the first week. But anyways, that was a difficult time for seniors, and for many reasons. But one thing that Sharon did, which I thought was really impressive, was that she, at every session, and I think we did it weekly, she found and curated a poem. And she would read a poem as a way to, like, we talked about, staying indoors and masking and check on your neighbors, and it was all this doom and gloom for a half hour, but she would always end it with a poem, which I thought was a great way to sort of recognize her approach. She brings warmth to everything that she does, and so I just wanted to mention that. I was going to read one of the first poems she read, but I brought it with me. I'm not going to do that, but I think she did a great job with it, and I wouldn't do it justice. So I just wanted to mention that, and thank you, and I think I wish you well in your retirement, and thank you, Director Funioli, for helping arrange this, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So again, we'll surely be missed. I want to just thank you for your service, and we're going to miss you dearly. And I think I will transition now to the Job with John program. That was the fun part. Well, this is also fun, but make sure you get a chance to say goodbye to Sharon today or the next few days that she's in next week. So what's happening in town? This is June. This is the middle of June, so we have about 2.5 weeks left in the fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th, so it's a pretty important time for us to make sure we're closing all the books, making sure that we have enough money to finish the year, which we do, and making sure all the things that we were supposed to do we finished up and accounted for, and then we start planning for next fiscal year, which is FY27. Everyone at town meeting overwhelmingly approved our budget for FY27, so we're off and running starting July 1st. We have some capital projects that we're advancing. I was in a meeting this morning to try to keep moving forward on the town hall HVAC and emergency power replacement project. That was approved by town meeting. We received a $1 million grant. We're trying to figure out exactly the solution to install that achieves the goals of making it all electric, but also it's an old building, so there's some complications that we're working through. To further complicate things, we're going to replace the bell tower at the same time. CPA funding was approved at town meeting to replace our bell tower, which is so structurally unsafe that we had to stop ringing it. And so we're going to fix the structural integrity of that bell tower, and put the clocks back on, turn them all at the same time, and we'll be off and running, and hopefully the bell will be ringing again in a few years. So that's important. During the project, we'll have to move out of Town Hall. So that'll be an inconvenience for all of you that use Town Hall services. So we're trying to identify a location that meets the needs to make it very easy. Most likely, we'll be either up at 50 Audubon or at the Conant School. We're still trying to finalize that. I think the Conant School would work out better, but we need to figure that out. That won't be until the fall, so there'll be plenty of information that I can share in the meantime. We also have a lot of public works projects going on. As you came here this morning, you noticed that the Water District is finishing up a water line project for the new apartments at the Rivage. The Rivage is, I think they're fully built out and they're just waiting on their final CO. So that's another 200 plus apartments available to the community. In a housing crisis, that's important to help give options for people. I heard the apartments are very nice. 25% of them are affordable, and there was a lottery process to get into those. The McManus Manor was another affordable housing project right across from the public safety facility. They'll be opening later this summer, which is very exciting. It's a beautiful building, and it's going to provide 40 units of housing for seniors that are certainly in need of other options. There's a long wait list on the housing list, so having that is going to be important. We had the grand opening for the dog park last week. That was kind of fun. I've seen dogs there ever since, so they seem to like it. After this, we're doing a ribbon cutting at the Asa Parlin House behind Town Hall. The federal funding, so that was a project that many of you have been around for a while. For decades, literally decades, the town was trying to figure out what to do with that building. Can we tear it down? No. Can we tear it down? No. They kept trying to tear it down, and the answer kept being no, because it's a historic building. And it just created an impasse. So thanks to some early support from our state legislature, which gave us an earmark a few years ago, and then a huge amount of support from the federal government. How often do you get to say that, right? We got $750,000 earmark from the federal government thanks to Lori Trahan, our congresswoman. Then we use ARPA funding to basically pay for the whole project. So we were able to solve a problem with other people's money, which was a big win. So we're celebrating that this afternoon at 12:30. If you're around, come by Town Hall, and we'll be right behind it celebrating that new building. River Street Park, Deputy Town Manager Tom Beejan's here. He was the one who took the lead on the dog park, getting that to the finish line. And so that was a big day for him last week. Thanks for your work on that. And he's also working on a new park on River Street, which you may have seen. It looks pretty cool. Some historic elements that were woven into it from its industrial past. And that'll be opening up later this summer as well. So that's sort of the lay of the land in terms of new projects. And we also have Kelly's Corner infrastructure project, which they're not done with the sidewalks yet, which I'm surprised to see, but they're getting very, very close. They're doing a lot of the aprons to get into people's driveways, and I think to many people's pleasure, they planted 130 trees, or they delivered 130 trees last week, and more than half of them have already been planted. So I think people were really waiting for that, and it's here, so hopefully you're excited about that. I know people don't love the new traffic patterns, but I was just talking to some folks earlier. That was a traffic pattern that our community spent years debating, and what we decided. 2019, if you remember, that it went to town meeting in 2018, failed. People said, no, we don't want that. We came back the next year, and they said, yes, we do want that. And we had to come back a few more times for different approvals. Throughout that entire process, there was meetings and meetings and meetings. We want turn lanes, we don't want turn lanes, save these trees, don't save those trees. All this work went into that project. We want street islands for traffic calming. All that work went into it, and then we finally got the design in place, and it's finally coming to life. It's been 7 years since the design was finished between now when we're actually seeing it in place. So it's been a long haul. So I appreciate all of your patience. This has been a state project, so we don't have the control over it that we normally would, but we're doing our best to work with them, and the end is in sight. I'd like to say it'll be this summer, but I'm not sure I can say that confidently. But we're going to keep moving, and It's going to be better, and we appreciate your patience. So I think now's a good breaking point for me to take questions, comments, and then if there are no more of those, we can have complaints. Let's start. Anyone want to go? Yes.
I have a question about the rail trail. When it was first built, they had a sign that said no motorized vehicles, and there was also an active police person that would ride around on a bike. And that sign no longer is there, and I think I've raised the question before, and I guess I was hearing, well, it's not really enforced. Well, I was on the rail trail going towards Concord, and there are signs that say no motorized vehicles. So what's the ruling?
So are there motorized vehicles allowed on the rail trail? Phone a friend? Can I phone a friend? I have a sergeant in the room. What do we got? Hold on. Sergeant Campbell, come on up. All right.
I think there are battery-operated bicycles out there, and I think a lot of people use those for good reason because they want to be out there. It's when we get the speeding and the recklessness that we'll respond to, and we took action last week on a couple of those calls. But I think they are allowed. It's just a matter of whether or not people are doing it safely. So most of the time people are, and I think people do get a benefit out of the motorized bicycles that are, because it can assist them in getting down the trail. But when it's reckless, that's when we can be called, and we'll take action on that. So.
Thank you. And always, if you see a safety concern or you saw one, please report it. They do patrol on a regular basis and check in on the rail trails. So if there's something that you see, let us know, or let them know. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I have a question about lane marking at Kelly's Corner.
Okay.
The two solid line, yellow line.
Yep.
And there's no break to go into the Starbucks.
Okay.
store.
I'm with you. Yep.
I wonder with the new lane marking, would that be like a little way so people know that you can come this way because the other way was closed?
So the question, and I'll try to repeat the question for our viewing audience and others, was about the lane markings in Kelly's Corner and whether the double lines in front of Starbucks means you can't turn into the property. So the one thing about the lane markings is that they're temporary. And when the contractor puts down temporary lines, they don't take the same amount of caution and time to do it as they will when they do the final pavement markings. So things like that are a little bit frustrating. Yes, you can go left there. And there are other markings that aren't in place that should be, that will be. Like, for example, when you're going south on Main Street, you're not supposed to be able to go left. That's a no left turn. But there's no sign, there's no arrows telling people that they can't go left. So that's another sort of flaw in the temporary lane marking. So I appreciate your patience, and I encourage you to drive with caution. And if you need to get a coffee at Starbucks, just make sure it's safe to turn, and then take the turn when it's safe to do so. Yes, any other questions? Yes.
I have a question regarding real estate taxes. Our real estate taxes went up by 16.25% last fiscal year, and I find that rather steep. So I filed an abatement, which is a fair process that we have in place, and I haven't heard anything since January. We filed the abatement. January, this is June. Haven't heard anything, and I would like to have your feedback on 16.25. What you're hearing from other people, because we don't have visibility from the people are paying, and is that acceptable that it takes that long to get an answer on abatement? And while we're at it, maybe you would like us also regarding Proposition 2.5 and the communities having their overrides, but it's again overrides are 5-6%. We're talking about 16.25%. And I think that's a lot of money.
Okay, that was a good question. There's a lot in there, so thank you for asking that. I'll try to recap it for the other side of the room. Property owners' taxes went up 16.25% this year, and they filed an abatement with the assessor's office, which is a process that's available to anyone who feels like their assessment wasn't done accurately, and he hasn't yet heard back from the assessor's office. I know the Board of Assessors processes abatements this spring, so I'm surprised you hadn't heard back. I can look into that, and actually, if you turn around and give your contact info to Deputy Town Manager, we can follow up with you directly, because I'm surprised you hadn't heard back yet. But the thing about a property value increase is that it's based on the value of your property. So if you, and I don't know where you live, but if you live in a home that hadn't been looked at, say, in a while, or if you live in a home where all the houses around you were sold for millions of dollars in the last few years, and your house is valued at a lot less, that would be a cause for the value of your property to go up more than you think it should in a given year. It's just because of catch-up. And again, I don't know the particulars of your case, so I think it's better to talk to the assessor's office to find out exactly what happened there. But you also mentioned Prop 2.5, and I'm not moving away from you for any. I'm just trying to center myself a little bit. Nothing personal. I think Prop 2.5 is something that was established in the 80s by the taxpayers who said, we don't want cities and towns to raise our taxes by more than 2.5% in a given year. And it's something that we've been working within, a framework we've been working within in that time. If a community feels that they need more than 2.5% to run the town, they go to the voters and ask for an override. An override allows the town to levy more than 2.5% increase in taxes the following year. Acton's done that a few times, I think less than a handful of times since the 1980s. Most recently, it was approved in 2020, 2 years ago, I believe, and there was a $6 million override approved, and that helped keep operations running, including the town and the schools. In that time, we still have excess levy available from that override because of sound financial planning, but our fixed costs continue to rise at near double-digit figures, and if you take a near double-digit figure increase and try to fill it with 2.5%, it doesn't work. So there's always trade-offs every year. So it's a complicated dynamic to work within, and I think cities and towns across the Commonwealth are finding it not sustainable. And the Mass Municipal Association, of which I'm a member, and the town's a member, published a really interesting report called The Perfect Storm, which you should look it up. It's easy to find on Google, Perfect Storm MMA, and it talked about how state aid and other funding sources have not kept pace with inflation, and the fact that we're limited by 2.5 has really required a lot of hard choices. There are many communities laying off teachers, firefighters, police officers this year because of inability to fund the budgets within 2.5. Acton isn't in that position right now, but we're closely monitoring our revenues to make sure that we don't get in that position. So it's a complex topic, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I think we have another presentation. And we're going to bring it back to Sharon. We should talk about Sharon at least every 10 minutes, so we're going to do it again. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody.
Here you go.
My name is Amelia Lamont. I'm from Representative Cataldo's office, and we have two very special citations from Representative Cataldo's office for Beverly Hutchins and Sharon Mercurio, in recognition of all their years of service at the Senior Center here, or the Council on Aging. So Sharon, for your 15 years as director, we thank you. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then we'd also like to recognize Beverly Hutchins.
She's not here, but
Oh, okay.
we can give her a round of applause.
Yes, we can still give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of support from our representatives in the State House. They're here to help recognize our employees, and they're here helping us every day with issues, including funding, like we just talked about. All right, so back to the program. Yes, a question over here.
Is SpaceX really worth $1.7 trillion?
Oh glad you asked me that, yes. So we're talking about corporate valuations. Yes, I think we'll do that at the next program. I'll get back to you on that.
Let's talk about the Rotary instead.
Concord Rotary, that's okay. That's more in my wheelhouse, okay.
So obviously, you know, there's some danger that we're finally going to do something at the Rotary. And the question that I have is, what opportunities are there for Acton, you know, in that part of Great Road near the Rotary to benefit from the infrastructure upgrades that are going to occur primarily in Concord, but obviously are going to affect both the towns. So this is both a water supply issue, you know, to the lower part of Great Road, and, you know, the question of, is there any way that sewers, you know, in the lower part of Great Road could get tied into the sewer treatment plant that's going to be at MCI Concord?
Okay, a complex question about infrastructure. So the question is about the Concord Rotary. We had a meeting earlier this summer with state representatives led by Representative Simon Cataldo, and the Secretary of Transportation was there. And I feel like there's some momentum now to solve the issue of the Rotary, which has been an issue for a long time. All of the scenarios that were presented were to create a kind of a flyover, kind of like they did with Baker's Corner, or Crosby's Corner. What was it called? The one, Crosby's Corner, where you used to have to go to a red light and turn, and now you just, if you're coming east, you just drive right through, and if you want to get off to go to Concord Center, you can get off. So it'll be a similar concept in the Rotary where traffic can go through, but if you need to go see local businesses or go to what's being proposed at the old prison, then there will be a way to get off. That's in the 5+ year time frame for that to happen. But at the same time as that major infrastructure project is being planned, Concord, the town of Concord, is acquiring the former prison property, and they have some pretty creative ideas for what they're going to do with that and create a vibrant mixed-use type of development there. In terms of how that all will impact Acton, I'd be very surprised if we are able to leverage that project to get sewer capacity in the town of Concord. It would be great, but sewer capacity is something that's so limited in every community that if one community gets a little bit more, I'd be surprised if they said, sure, you can send some sewage to Concord, no problem. I just don't see it happening. I will certainly ask, but I think it'll be a tough ask. But I think there'll be economic development benefits from this. I think if people aren't frustrated driving through Acton because of the lights, they'll be more apt to get off and go visit one of our restaurants or one of our businesses on Great Road. We are planning major infrastructure improvements to Great Road. In all the intersections, we're going to make safer for pedestrians and probably slower for drivers, which drivers don't like, but we're trying to make it more of a pedestrian-centric area, which helps with businesses. So I think it's yet to be seen exactly how Acton will benefit from that project, but I think that we will. I think it'll make for people, because right now you have people that are all fired up because they have to sit all the way back to that bridge or all the way back to the hospital to get through the Rotary, and then by the time they get through the Rotary, they come up that hill, see our transfer station, and say, oh, and then they see that red light, and then they get there and they're like, oh, another red light. And so I think it'll help with people's perception of the area to not have such a frustrating experience at the Rotary. And at the same time, the state is also working on improvements to that intersection, Piper, Taylor, and Route 2. They have a design that they're putting forward that would require people that are coming back, well, from this way, if you're coming back to try to go back into the center from Piper, instead of just driving through the intersection, you would have to take a right and then go into a turn lane to come back and then go that way. So that's not convenient for someone in that position, but it's a much safer traffic condition where you're not driving across several lanes of oncoming traffic. So all that's happening, and we have good support at the state, and I think once they finish Kelly's Corner, they'll start moving on to other projects. So thank you for that question. Any other questions? Oh, no repeats. Hold on.
Is the town doing anything in terms of artificial intelligence, any projects that we're involved in are introducing it more to the schools? Or?
Thank you. The question's about artificial intelligence. And that, if you listen to Bloomberg Radio, that's what they talk about all day long. And it's because it's already part of industry. Local government is typically a few steps behind private sector with implementation of things, but we are, AI is here. We have a Director of Innovation and Technology, Carl Volker, is part of a cohort of mostly town administrators and technology leaders in cities and towns that have been meeting monthly starting at the beginning of the year to try to develop policies and procedures to help communities use this technology safely, because the danger with AI is that people's personal information and information is out there. The thing about local governments is that most of the work that we're doing and most of the data that we produce is public information. There are, like this building, we have a lot of sensitive information that we wouldn't want to get mixed up in AI, but a lot of the other stuff that we do is fine. So we're trying to create parameters for our staff, and we have an internal policy that we've been reviewing to make sure that people use it responsibly. But it's already being used for support for graphics and easy things like that, like to make a press release. If you have 10 points, you can put it in, and it gives you a pretty good draft press release to work from. Then you can make it better. So we're using a little bit. Our customer service systems, I haven't used it yet, but we will be looking at piloting a new feature on our website later this year that our Director of Innovation and Technology is bringing forward. And it's going to be a chatbot. So you may have a negative connotation with chatbots, and I'm sorry, but I think it'll be a cool way for people to try to access our systems, because sometimes people like that. Some people don't want to call, don't want to search, they want to ask a chatbot. And so we're going to try that out this year. Thank you. Yes, okay, sure, yep.
Yeah, so I want to do another sewer question follow-up. I noticed that sewers are on the agenda for the select board on Monday night, and that the information in the packet is, again, a short memo simply saying these are the rate changes that we propose. I'm assuming that, like last year, there will be a presentation to the select board, and then they'll discuss that during the meeting. And the question is, what information should be in the packet so that the select board has a chance to review it prior to the meeting, and what information is appropriately presented and the select board reacts to it on the fly?
Thank you. So the question is about the sewer system. As many of you know, we have a sewer system that serves about 10% of the community. It's down here in South Acton. The plant you can see, I think you can see it from the street when there's no tree, when the leaves aren't in. And the fields are those fields on High Street you can see off to the left that looks like a big sand pit. That's where the drainage from our wastewater treatment system goes. Anyways, on Monday night, the select board will be approving rates for the coming year for our sewer customers. And the question is, what information is shared with the select board to make that decision? And I think in many cities and towns, there is a separate body called the Sewer Commission, or in Boston, it's the Boston Water and Sewer Commission, and they're sort of in charge of that. In Acton, our select board serve as the sewer commissioners. So it's a little unique. Anyways, they're going to set the rates, and the information that we provide to them is we'll have a presentation Monday night, and we'll talk about usage and capacity and costs. And costs are going up for everything else, and we're trying to mitigate increases by doing other things, using grants. So I think it's an ongoing discussion. We actually did a study this year on the governance, and we had the Collins Center looked at different models: elected sewer commission, appointed sewer commission, advisory sewer commission, and the board will probably be discussing that more this year of what we want to do for the future, because it probably makes sense to have a separate entity paying more attention to the sewer system than just having the board do a rate setting every year. So I understand your observation there, but we're doing the best we can. I think the biggest issue with our sewer system right now is that we're getting near the end of the capacity that is in it. And so even though we have projects that we want to bring forward that we think are good, we have to say no sometimes because we don't have the ability for them to connect to sewer. So it's a big problem. It's not a problem that's unique to Acton. I think many communities face the same issues with wastewater issues because it's just hard to do, but we're going to keep working it. Thank you for the question. Yes?
I am in that district, but I have not connected yet.
Okay.
To the sewer system.
Yeah, you have a septic system that works, okay?
So, since I paid for it, I know I have the right to connect to it. Is there a future time maintenance there? Is that capacity being saved from?
So the question is, when this sewer system was built in 2000, everyone that was in the district paid a sewer betterment, which meant that they could connect to it at the time or when they felt like it. And you haven't connected yet because your septic system still works, and someday you may want to connect to it. And your question was, is there any room left at the end? And the answer is yes. I think one house, I think, is different than a big project where I think we're saying no to. But there will be a point, some point, that even one house will be an issue. We're not at that point. And I think it'll be a few years before we are, but that's why we're trying hard to try to find more capacity so that we don't have to have those hard discussions. Thank you for the question. Yes, question over here?
I was going to ask about 2.5, too.
Okay.
But you answered my question.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for being here. Any questions over here? Comments? We can do complaints now. Oh, yes.
So he asked about the Rotary in Concord. So the prison's right there, too. I didn't know they were going to fix the Rotary or do something with it. But the prison's right there, too. Would that happen at the same time?
Yeah, I think, so the prison closed last year, and the state is in the process of selling it to Concord for $1 or giving it to Concord. I don't know if that actually happened yet or not. I know Concord has plans for what they want to do with that property, but I think they would need to get town meeting approval for some of the concepts that are being discussed. And so that usually takes a few years. So it could line up that they're at the same time, to answer your question. I think the infrastructure project will take probably 5 years, and that development may take just as long. So it could be at the same time. Okay, well, that was a good round of questions. We got multiple opportunities to thank Sharon, and we should take more, and I know we will next week. Thank you to our public safety folks for being here. Thank you to Director Penny Funioli for supporting the event. Any updates you want to give? Questions? All right, good. All right, we'll call it then. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and have a happy summer.